I see the good in people that sometimes I shouldn't. And that goes with other things as well. Find an appreciation in almost anything. And although in a way that's a good, there's definitely some solace in that. On the same token, I think that if I were to continue to say yes to everything, which is really what this boils down to, then like I'll find myself in a difficult path.
If a 70-year-old may look back and something that I'm doing right now that he would hate will be
Morty.
Limits don't exist till we put them down.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the Elevate podcast. This is Justin. We are starting off 2026 podcast with a co-host, and my co-host today is special. I would like to introduce him. So, for the past few weeks, there's something that has been going on in terms of my life and how I'm processing certain things that took place within my life. And there's something that happened today that I feel like is prevalent enough, which indicates the persons that I'm going to introduce, which is the ability to express myself to a degree to which I know the person who's listening to me understand. And that person, having someone like that in your life as a friend, I think is something that is very prevalent. So my co-host right now is Harrison Porter. Welcome back.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling today, bro?
Feeling fantastic.
Yeah?
Better now.
That's that's good. So we just came from an event, which I don't want to talk about here on this podcast, but it's something that changed our perspective. We already have a deeper conversation so far. But one thing I wanted to ask you in terms of like from the last time we talked and now, what is currently going on right now with your psyche?
I would say my psyche continues to evolve. I think that that's kind of the goal for all of us. And even me saying that, I know that there's still things that, like I was saying, still stuck in my ways in certain ways, but on the same token, gotten past other things. So that's very vague. But in a word, progressive.
Progressive.
Yeah.
Why the word progressive?
I think just keep moving forward. That's kind of always been my mantra, is to continue taking one step at a time. And, not every single day is going to be a winner, but if you can continue moving that direction, you'll get to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I just want to keep moving forward, and that will always be the goal.
There's this word that one of our boss like to say, which is called momentum. And I think it's something that is very relevant, especially when it comes to having a moment of retrospect on our psyche. And that's the first word that came to my mind when you say progressive. It's like having a momentum of growth. How is that looking like right now in your life? Is it going good, or is it more progressive but in a slow state to where you actually want, or you?
So that's a good question. I would say that like momentum is not always something that you can bring out of yourself, and I think that sometimes, as much as we don't want to rely on others to help as a catalyst to move you in the right direction, I fortunately, over the last year since we had a last conversation, have had a lot of outside factors that have pushed me to become a better person and just who I want to be, the man that I hope to be. So I don't think I'm there yet. However, like I was saying, continuing to take one step at a time, being able to roll with the punches as far as when things come about. It's not always going to be what you want.
Yeah.
However, it's all about how you look at it. So I think some of the experiences I've had in the last year have been able to help develop me. And I think that starting off this year, like I said, tomorrow is February. It's crazy that we're already one out of 12 months through.
That's crazy.
I know. All of a sudden it's got to be 2027. But anyway, I'm proud of myself.
Okay.
And I don't know. It's a weird thing to kind of digest that. But I know. I mean, as for you, I mean, you kind of feel like you've been finding some of that as well. I mean, do you feel like you've been able to continue to change by your own hand and with the help of others? Or do you think one or the other has been more beneficial for you?
I think for me, I have been changing. I would say a lot. And which is good. but it's also kind of put you in a situation where you welcome so much new change, and what makes the change seem prevalent to your growth is the ability to actually stay within that change and be able to maximize the changes. So let's say, for example, you learn a new skill. If you learn the new skill and not being able to adequately maximize on that new skill, then you don't really see the growth within it. So I feel like for me, it has been just getting to a level and wanting to make the best of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also change is interesting. It's like, is change really good for you if you didn't need it? If you didn't need it in the first place, you know the statements like, if it don't break, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah,
If
exactly.
it don't broke, don't fix it.
Very
Like,
well said.
is change really that? Like, is growth synonymous to change? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it's interesting. Yeah. That's an interesting question. When I asked you that question, I didn't think you were going to ask me back. So I didn't have it prepared in my head.
Totally fair. But no, I think you honestly made a really good point, is that is change always necessary? Right? Because I think that some people, I think kind of like ourselves, where we're like, no, change is necessary. However, I definitely think that I've experienced change before that I've brought out of myself. And although that's good, I think that maybe I walked away from situations that I shouldn't have walked away from. That if I had stayed the course, that maybe my perspective or the outcome of staying the course would have been different to where I am now. Of course, you can never look too much into that. You have to be happy with what you're doing now and that decision that you made to change. So, I mean, no, I think you said it best. It's like, is it always necessary? No, but it's inevitable.
Yes. And I think one thing that we can establish is this, right? We are growing as people. And as we grow, we are encountering new information. And when we encounter new information, those informations that what we interpret it can either help us or harm us, right? And every situation and every experience that we experience, we can see it as a positive reinforcement for the next level or for the next, growth. So has anything happened in your life since we last talked that you say has shifted some of the way you see things? And also, how did you deal with it?
It's a good question. So, I mean, as far as like the elephant in the room, at least for like you and I mean, I changed roles within the last year with my career. And so that was unexpected. And on the same token, I feel that because of that happening, I think it's put me now in a perspective to where I feel like everything's in front of me, to where I before maybe felt like I kind of already decided what I wanted to be. And that's kind of what I was toiling with at the time. But within the last year, now where I sit, with where we are here right now, I feel like I'd like to actually refer this with a quote. So that's actually a quote that I used recently and something that I had put on social media, but I think it's pretty prevalent. It's from Brenton's Fisherman Prayer. So the term is like, "Oh God, thy sea is so great, but my boat is so small." And so for somebody that feels that they can accomplish anything, what would you like to accomplish? If you were told that you could never fail, like what would you go through and do if you try anything? And so as of right now, I'm kind of exploring, different ideas as far as like who I want to be and why. The whole idea of purpose is a little bit different to me than it was here a year ago. I think that I was so convoluted in the fact that purpose was black and white, but it's very much not. It's all about like kind of what you make it. So I think like with the turn of events over the last year have very much forced me to grow. Kind of like I was saying earlier, there are things that have happened that have pushed me that were unexpected, but at the same time necessary. As much as maybe as I didn't want to. And, I definitely think that I still live with a lot of thoughts on if things had stayed the same, who I would be now. But now moving forward, it's really accepting that, if you want something, then you really have to like go in every day and show it.
Okay.
Rather than being willing to let it go by you.
Okay. So that's That's a dope analogy, bro. I'm still caught up on the analogy about the fish, the sea is great, but
my favorite quote. It's actually I gotta give a reference where it's due. One of my friends in high school that I did debate with, that was something that he had actually shared with me. I always thought it was so interesting because the whole idea is that, again, there's only so much you can cover.
Yes.
We only live for so long. Even if we were to live 100 years,
yes,
the chance of you doing everything that you ever wanted to do is slim to none.
Yes.
And so we were talking about this before we got started, and another thing that actually my cousin pronounced onto me was the idea of time and the value of it. So what is your value? Because I think at the time we were talking about cooking, and he's like, I for the most part I don't go to the grocery store. I actually order everything to my house. I was like, what? You don't go to the grocery store? It's like, well, no, hold on. Of course, like I could, and I enjoy the grocery store, but that's not why I don't go to the grocery store. It's the whole value of time. And so the older that I get, the more that I think I've appreciated my time. Whether that's, at work or going to the gym or cooking or just genuinely taking care of myself or others. And like how you spend it, because plenty of people that are very happy, however, on the same token, at least from my perspective, doing the same thing for quite literally years. So for me, that's not the value of time that I'd like to perceive. I'd like to continue to use my time in different ways rather than like the same thing for the rest of my life. So I'm still developing on that, because there's definitely times where I say that, but there's some weekends where I feel like okay, well, I just put in this long work week, and I did good, I cooked, I went to the gym, I slept good, I took my vitamins, all that stuff. And I get to the weekend, and I wouldn't say, you throw it away, but there are definitely weekends where, I indulge and I have a little too much fun. Or to what point is that acceptable if I keep coming back to the same decision that it wasn't?
That makes sense. Okay. So it's like you kind of have a picture of what you want it to be, but certain actions that you do become repetitive to the point where you end up in that same situation where you don't want to be in. Right. And so my question I would ask is this: are you doing anything right now in your life, which there's something that I'm doing right now that I think you might be interested, but I want to ask you first, are you doing anything right now in your life that kind of like regulates your mood, emotions, in terms of, so that you can have consistency within the day?
Great question. And I would say, honestly, that's one of the things I really improved on this last year. I think consistency has always eluded me, even when I was a kid. No necessarily rhyme or reason. I just think that I've always been, I'm easily excitable. So with that being said, I like to do things. I'd like to do a lot of different things. There's nothing that I wouldn't try. Well, okay. Well, the same token, as long as there's a positive outcome, then it's worth trying at the end of the day. At least like as long as it aligns with my values, my morals, all that stuff. Because of course we could talk about, crazy things that it's like, okay, well, obviously not. But no, to answer your question, I mean, as far as consistency, that's kind of why I've really been trying to hone my focus into like being more consistent. And that's really been true the last, I would say, 6 months.
6 months, okay.
To where I've just been like trying to be, really as simple as like taking my vitamins, doing like certain supplements every single day that I think have benefited me, that I think have helped my overall psyche. Outside of that, it's just like trying to stay consistent in going to the gym, or with sleep, or going to church, being with family. However, it's not like where like, okay, every single Sunday I'm getting dinner with my family. Like I unfortunately don't feel like I'm doing that enough. Even for the gym, like I'm right now going to the gym like 3 to 4 times a week, but it's not always Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, or whatever. So as far as my week is concerned, I've gotten a lot better about hitting all those check boxes. However, it's not always like the same time and place, I guess, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. But I think I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, someone asked me, how many times a day do you go to the gym? And I was like, 5 days a week. And that seemed cool and all. And what time? And I was thinking, well, Monday I goes at 1 p.m. Tuesday I go at like 6 p.m. So it's like,
Right.
I don't really have a particular time within the week that I go. I used to do it, you know, but it's just what is conducive to me. But the idea of it is that at the end of the week, I went to the gym 5 times. So that's the goal, right? And it's like, do I want to regulate my time to where consistency comes in going to the gym every day at the same time? Or consistency comes at the end of the week, I went to the gym 5 days a week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, whatever that is more prevalent and more meaningful to you in terms of how you view consistency, that's what would make you feel good about yourself before you go to bed. I feel like. So
that's part of my battle, I think, is like, again, for me, like consistency for a long time has eluded me, even though I've always been consistent. That's the weird part. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
You know, obviously between school and swimming, and like still being able to do like all the other little things that, you know, we mentioned as far as like taking care of yourself, you know, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Still been doing those things. It just sometimes feels like I could do better. Maybe that's just how we're wired.
yeah.
I think that's probably a little bit of it as well. Just, you know, being highly competitive by nature, always makes you think like, okay, I did good, but good enough is not.
Yes. That makes sense. That makes sense. So I did a video here a couple of weeks ago, I think last week, Monday. And that video was about what if you do everything that you possibly can, if you give it everything that you possibly can and still fail. So the question, that was not the intent of the video. The intent of the video was to talk about having crash moments within the day. So let's say, for example, you go to work, you work in 4 hours, right? 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours straight. You gotta go take a lunch. You come back from lunch, you work 2 hours, and your brain just crash.
3 p.m.
What do you do?
3 p.m.
And then, and what do you do? And so, cause for me, that happened for like a week or so. And my thoughts was, man, I need to figure out how to fix this, because it's like, I don't want to be in a situation where I come home and I'm thinking I didn't give everything I had throughout that day. And so one thing I started doing, which is something that I wanted to tell you, and maybe you can tell me what you think about this. Waking up every day, same times, even the weekend, which is the hardest part.
Yeah.
The weekend. Because I know I'm not doing anything afterward. It's like I just wake up and maybe read a book or something. And taking morning walk.
Love it.
That's like first thing I wake up, get up, go outside, take morning walk. That has been, interestingly enough, because I was listening to Andrew Huberman, you know, he's a neuroscience, right?
Yep.
And he was talking about how your cortisol spike the highest in the morning. So first thing you do is before you go to bed, dim the light so that your cortisol can start going low so that you can sleep. And I don't know what the chemical that starts releasing for you to sleep. I don't know what chemical it was that he said, but when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do, you try to be in the sun or open up a bright light. So what I do is I open up this light and I just sit there for like 5 minutes and then go outside and then start walking. And for some reason, I would be not sleepy when it hit that time, or I will not feel crash out. My brain won't be foggy even when I don't drink coffee.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what do you think about that?
About just like your routine?
Just that whole thing, yeah.
I love it. And I think that's something that I failed to do. And what I mean by that is I've been trying, just to be totally open and honest with you, trying to like get a morning routine down for quite literally years. And so I would say if anything in my life right now, that's the one thing that I tell myself. I mean, okay, when I say tell myself, I still every single night, especially like throughout the week, especially, am setting my alarm for 6 in the morning. How many times do you think I've gotten up to that alarm? You're right. Don't even have to answer. Because not that many times. At least just for myself, just for the sake of getting up. I had a friend tell me years ago. It's like, Harrison, you only get up when you need to, not when you want to. Even if you do need to, because I know that I would benefit drastically from being able to hold on to that, even if it's just an hour.
But what's the difference? getting up when you want to, need to? What's the difference?
It's a good question. So as far as need to, so for example, so I don't wake up at 6. It's like I want to. I'd like to go earlier because at that point, you know, I can get my walk in. I can read. I can pray. I can do all these different things that I want to do in the morning because I know that they're not going to happen in the evening. At least not to the same capacity because I've gone through my day already. I've gone through work 8 hours plus some. I know that I would benefit the most from doing these things in the morning. So as far as needing and wanting to, when do I wake up? When I need to. I know that I wake up at 7:10 on the dot because I know it takes me exactly, you know, at the most 25 minutes to go from bed to in the driver's seat of my car. Because then I'll be at the office at 7:55. It takes me 5 minutes to go from my car to my desk. So worst case scenario, I'm at my desk at 8.
Okay.
Which is not. No.
Yeah.
No. Just plain and simple is not the way that I should be living. But I have continued to. Why? Because it's somehow continuing to work. At least enough.
So preferably want.
Exactly. That is the difference here. It's like I want to wake up at 6. Go for a 30-minute walk. That's at least, get 1 to 2 miles.
Yeah.
Which, you know, they say, of course, you know, trying to get 10,000 steps a day is, good for, you know, your overall health, but it's just really good for a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
As far as just like the basic level of health. There's a lot of studies and things that have gone into, walking, especially exposure to sunlight, fresh air, even if it's cold right now, regardless.
And the fact that you are going to be moving your leg,
right.
Like you're moving your body like this or your head like this, it's good.
Even body at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard when you do this while you are walking, it's kind of I don't know what happened. There's something benefit that happened to you, which allowed your awareness ability to arise, which is something very good. Now imagine one of the hardest thing about walking outside right now is the ice, the cold, and the snow. So I just went outside from here to there because usually I would go all the way over there, and but I was like, what's the benefit of me going outside in this cold, man?
Right.
Just
honestly a lot. Honestly a lot. I think sorry, I kind of take this off topic a little bit, but another thing I just think about a lot, I love Tom Brady. As much as I hate Tom Brady because of what he did to my Chiefs, not important. I love Tom Brady. Why? Because he is one of the best mentalities I've seen in sports, other than a couple other guys like Michael Phelps, Michael Jordan, that I think that have some of the best mentalities I've ever seen. And I don't know if it was his Hall of Fame speech last year, but he made the comment of doing something simply for the fact that it is hard. That's it. And so that's one of the reasons that he loved football, is because it is objectively difficult, especially when you're trying to go above and beyond anybody else. And so I think that my highest version of myself is doing those things. However, I haven't been able to grasp onto that enough to, number one, do it consistently, but number two, do it consistently and then go further than that. Because I already know that when I'm able to accomplish this and get up when I want to, not when I need to, that what's next? So many references, but I just watched a movie last night, a documentary actually. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Free Solo.
Free Solo, no.
Yeah, never heard of it?
No.
Gotta watch it. So you probably saw recently that guy that was climbing that building in Taiwan. There's people taking videos of this guy climbing a skyscraper.
Yeah, I think
So this guy's name's Alex.
Okay.
I don't want to butcher his last name. I think it's Hanad is his last name. Regardless, he basically was the first person to. Okay, free soloing it's rock climbing with no ropes. You are totally and utterly alone, and so if you fall, you're dead. And so the whole interesting part about this documentary is that mental factor of being able to climb a mountain without any support. And so he climbs one of the hardest climbs, even with a rope, in the world. It's out in Yellowstone. So they call it El Capitan. Yeah. Anyway. But no, the whole documentary was so interesting because of that fact. Is he's climbing the hardest mountain in the world, or at least for like, I guess, experienced rock climbers, and still was able to go through and do it, even though he most likely was going to die. Everybody in the documentary, they're all professionals. They rock climb every single day. It's what they live for. They're adrenaline junkies, are calling this guy crazy. And the reason why he did it was for that explicit point of being able to do something that people deem impossible, including himself. And so I don't know when I'll find my El Capitan, but I think that just letting life go by, like I was saying earlier, over time really weighs on a person. And I think that's kind of where I was this time last year. You asked me about my psyche earlier, is that I kind of felt like I was letting things go by. And so my idea of purpose was very skewed. And even now, I'm still moving towards, you know, what that means to me. But I think I've made strides. So.
Okay. So you say you're kind of like looking for maybe a rhythm in how you processing and moderating your life in that sort.
Yeah.
I heard something in the office, someone say that, so they asked him like, what is something that you like to do in the morning before you come to work? And they say, well, I like to go to the gym and take ice bath. I think it was taking ice bath. And he started explaining why he goes to the gym in the morning and take ice bath in the morning. And he said, because that is the hardest thing I do in that day. And if I can actually do the hardest thing in a day, when I come to work, it's not hard anymore because I've already did something that is already hard. So it's easy for me to accomplish the job that I need to accomplish because I already did my hardest job. You know, I already did the hardest thing in a day. And I thought that was fascinating because it's like, is there something like that where you're doing right now and that will make you, that will be like, okay, this is like the hardest thing I'm doing on a consistent basis?
I love that. I think that gives me a lot of... my mom actually has something similar here, and she said the same thing for a long time that I only heard from her, but have you ever heard the concept of eating the frog?
No.
So if, hypothetically, I were to hand you a plate and like you don't have a choice, like you have to eat this frog that's on this plate, how would you do it? No good way of going about it. It's more of a rhetorical question, to be honest. But the whole concept of the analogy is that if you're going to go through and eat a frog, you go through and do it right away. You don't wait. You don't put it off. At that point, it's just sitting there. It's waiting for you. You have to eat it.
Yeah.
So
eating a frog just paints a nasty image in my head.
I know. Well, of course, it's not like it's obviously not appetizing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. I think what whoever said that is kind of a similar thought process where being able to tackle the hardest thing, especially throughout your day, as soon as you can, is arguably the best way to do it. And everybody's different. I think that most people that I've talked to that approach life that way, I think objectively are more successful. I definitely have my times where that is difficult. I think that I find myself sometimes accidentally doing that, like eating the frog in the morning, basically like doing the hardest thing, especially when it comes down to work and like maybe there's a task that you have to take on at some point in the day, and all of a sudden like, oh well, I guess it's happening right here, right now. So I can't run away. I gotta do it right here, right now. So I think, I mean, from a lot of people that I've talked to that really take advantage of their mornings, against or overall in a better state of being. And for some reason, for a long time, it's been difficult for me. I think a little bit of it too is the comfort that sleep gives me. As far as, especially in the morning, I feel like I'm kind of almost in a trance to where like I have a really hard time, almost like you're intoxicated by the feeling of, a comfort that sleep kind of thing gives you, especially in the morning, especially right now when it's so cold. I don't know about how your house gets in the mornings, but my house gets so cold and I wake up and I'm under the blankets and I'm like, man, the last thing I want to do is get out. And that has been the piece that I've been working on. And I will say, I mean, I won't say that, I've never gotten up at the 6 a.m. alarm. However, it's not as common as it should be.
What you say is something that I think I've been working towards too. And there's something that you say, having a consistent down, where you're consistent. You see yourself being consistent, being disciplined, but also the next level of that, and which is being more consistent, being more disciplined. Did you watch the video of Tony Robbins and
Alex
Hormozi? Did you watch the video?
I watched some of the clips from it.
Some of the clips on it? Okay. That was so interesting. The reason why it's so interesting, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I did a video on it and I did a whole review and kind of like a breakdown of what was going on and what I think was going on. And something that he said was, he asked a question, which I feel like I want to ask you this question too. But he asked a question, and the question he asked is, when do you differentiate when the things that you are doing right now, your duty, use the word duty, right? Which is the work that you are doing, doesn't just become a duty, but something that you kind of like enjoy. Now I'm paraphrasing, I'm not saying the exact same thing, but, and then Tony Robbins, the first thing he says, like, wait a minute, like, change your lingo, change your vocabulary. It's not a duty. Do you ever feel like your job, the things that you have to do in terms of like the discipline, becoming a duty or something that you enjoy to do? Because one of the things that you say was, I get to do this, right?
Right.
It's a gratitude thing where I get to do this. I get to experience this. There's many people who are unfortunate to experience the life that you are experiencing, but you get to do this because it's like something that is from a standpoint of gratitude. But do you think that sometimes linger our capability to be more, I'll say, maximizing on our ability to produce when we look at our job as a duty rather than something of an opportunity that we get to do with enjoyment and excitement?
I think that, well, they say, you do something you love, you never work a day in your life.
That's fact.
Right? And to be able to find something that you love, I mean, okay, I think that obviously growing up as a soccer player and just as an athlete, like everybody wants to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a professional athlete because it, like all of the things that you look at as far as like a life worth living, it hits a lot of those things. Or trying to find something that you can do every day and it not feel like you're working. And so I think it's actually funny. One of our bosses had said to me once, after like one thing that our CEO had said to me, like when I had the opportunity years back to talk with him, because I asked him at the time, it's like, what is something that gets you up every single, like what gets you out of bed every morning? And he said, in a word, grit. And so I brought that back up to one of our bosses. It was like, well, I'd like to actually paraphrase on that. That grit is a byproduct of responsibility. And so coming down to feeling that you have this innate knowing that you have to go through and do these things, not because you want to, because you have to. And so I think being able to enjoy that, there's a certain solace that I think I've found, even with work over the years, to where, I mean, yes, every day, every week, month, quarter is a little bit different than the other one. But I've definitely had those periods of work where I felt that in through and through. So I think it begs the question is like, do you need to enjoy what you do? And so it's a weird question, because I feel like there's a lot of people, a lot of Americans especially, that work a job that they don't want to be doing. They don't enjoy it at all.
I think a better question will also be is like, well, not a better question, but an alternative question to that is like, is needing to enjoy your work that important?
Exactly.
For you to attaining what you actually are trying to attain?
Well, see, that brings back to what is fulfillment. Because I think a lot of people confuse fulfillment with enjoyment. And so, because I know a lot of people that live lives right now that they, they're doing all these things and they enjoy their lives a lot. But is that necessarily the right answer? just because you enjoy it, because it makes you happy, that you should be doing it.
Interesting.
Just as much as like, waking up or working out or eating right. Because of course, a burger that I make is not going to, taste as good, or well, at least as far as the satisfaction that I get, it is different from when I go to McDonald's or get fast food. There's a lot of different things that go into both of those categories. Even though I enjoy, making my own food, I also enjoy, going through and eating out. But it's just, it's different.
Yeah.
And so just kind of going back to our point of like, do you need to enjoy what you do for it to be the right choice?
Yeah, see, that's the question. It's like, if it's working, what's the point of enjoying it? Like, but what's interesting about that, I feel like you will be limited in your growth. So the initial stage, usually when you are pursuing a goal, is work. And the word that he used was, forget about happiness, but he said the F word, right? Happiness. And what Tony said that was interesting was that maybe you can conceive a goal big enough to where you enjoy it, so that when you are doing what you don't want to do, as long as you gaze at the goal that is big enough that you're going to enjoy, the things that you are doing that you don't want to do, you're going to enjoy it because the end result will be the goal.
So that word you just used twice, goal. And so I think for me too, that's kind of similar. I think you could also use a synonym of vision. And so for me, I think kind of like my dad, my dad's always been a visionary. I think that's one thing that I share with him that I hope to one day really see to the fullest extent. And so if you don't have a goal or a vision of what you hope to accomplish, then what you're doing sometimes feels pointless.
Yes.
And so for me, as a single 25-year-old male that has been out of school for a few years and just trying to get figure out what this world is all about, it's been really difficult. Like it's not uncommon for people our age to have that sense of existentialism, of kind of seeing the world around you, especially now that you've left school, you're living on your own, you're working in the workplace with so many people from all over the place, especially as far as age and like point in their lives. We work with lots of people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, so on and so forth.
Yes, we will.
So have a very different perspective in all of those different people, those different types of people. And so for me, like gathering from like their perspectives to kind of try and build my own has been kind of what I've been doing the last few years, and it's still just been pretty hard to figure out, especially when, again, for me right now, it's all about me. I don't want it to be all about me. That's kind of part of it. And I think for me, and I know we'll get into relationships a little bit more later, but I think it's kind of held me back a little bit from pursuing intimate relationships because of that reason. Like I don't want the person that I'm with be the reason that I'm happy. I want to be happy because I am happy, because I have determined how I can be happy by myself.
That's a good way to look at it. It's like you want to be complete. You want to complete yourself first.
Right.
Terminology, complete within the baseline of your self as an individual, then going to find someone else. And when you mate with that person, you're not needing them to complete you.
Exactly.
So there's something that the CEO of Diary, Steve, that's his name, right? Steve, say, and he was like, he was saying something about, if you get a baby, I think was it Steve? I'm not sure, but if you, let's say for example, you have a child, what will normally happen is that a man's capability to want to actually pursue the things that he wants to pursue is higher than when he doesn't have it. And in most instances, I heard someone give me worst advice they can possibly give me, and he said, just get a girl pregnant. And it's funny, and you think about it, like, but he was saying, like, what he was saying was, the things that you are struggling with right now, it will be nothing compared to the fact that you have a kid you need to take care of. Like the motivation lag that you feel in a day where you feel as if you don't want to do anything, that will be nothing compared to knowing that if you don't get up in the morning, go work so that you can feed the baby that you're responsible of and brought to the world, that mentality is just, it changes.
Intrinsic motivation.
Intrinsic motivations, that's the word for it. And it's interesting, but I don't want to be in a situation where I need that in order for me to be motivated to do something. I think I've built my life in a sequential level to where I can actually do the things that I need to do without needing that outside substance of motivation.
Right.
But and I think there's another level of it. So also in regarding to relationships, so I think ideally speaking, you want to get married, right?
Of course.
Ideally speaking.
Yeah.
What are some things that you are currently doing right now that will put you in a better situation where, let's say, for example, the opportunity arises where you met the one.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
And
in due time.
they will be saying, wow, this is the one.
Yeah. That's a great question. Like, who to somebody else am I their one, is what you're saying. The missing puzzle piece, if you will. I think for me, it all starts at values. And I don't think that, I mean, of course, there's always going to be things that you can consider a deal breaker. But even for me, I mean, I think you need to be like water. You need to be able to fill any shape that you enter. And so at that point, it comes down to, I think, just matching values. But I don't think it means that all of them need to be matching. I think there are some things you can find that that kind of even out the scale, if you will. And I think that's healthy. I've seen some relationships where people are the exact same. I don't think that, I don't know, in my 2 cents, I don't know if like how much I believe that I want to find like, you know, a Miss Harrison. You know what I mean? I want, you know, the person that I find that I fall in love with to have things that are not like me. And so at the same time, of course, we're not talking like total opposites. On the same token, like, I think that it's important to have matching values, but also values that maybe don't fit exactly. Because I think that also, I mean, I don't know, you're familiar with like the honeymoon phase, right? It's like the first like 3, maybe 6 months of a relationship where like everything feels perfect. And I've experienced that before, and like there's nothing like it. However, especially after getting past that point, especially seeing other friends that have been in relationships for years and years and years, to where you have to continue to, you know, move forward with that person. You know, you're not going to always feel that same way. And also, like, you're just naturally going to change the person, whether they like it or not. I think we've talked about this before. I think it was in the last podcast where it's like you're not even going to find the same person, even in the same person.
Yeah.
And so I think then in a relationship, the whole goal is the goal to grow together. That doesn't mean that you morph into the same being. It's that you continue to grow as individuals at the same time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And because what you are coming to a relationship to is not only what you know about that person, because there are certain things that you don't know about that person, and those things gonna start revealing themselves to you.
Exactly.
But if you can get the baseline correct, and what scares me when it comes to like relationship in the long run, or marriage, I would say, not relationship, marriage specifically, is that what if you grow and your partner doesn't grow? And I asked someone this question and they say, well, I'll blame it on you because you let yourself grow, but you didn't.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
You didn't let your partner grow with you.
Well, and I think honestly, Jay, that comes down to how you look at marriage, right? And so marriage, like, that is a whole nother thing. Like, and honestly, man, I agree. Like, I definitely have bouts of fear when it comes to an intimate relationship, to be totally honest with you, because I've experienced intimacy before in ways that the way that I reacted, looking back on it now, I am surprised that I reacted the way that I did in certain situations. So you think about marriage is, at least on paper, forever. Yeah. At least, like, it depends, of course, on what your values are, but at least for me, I mean, the whole idea is when I marry somebody, that is the one and only one. Yeah. And of course, and I know plenty of people that have had several marriages, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me, though, and that's where maybe it's taken me a lot longer than I've liked it to, is that when I eventually, put a ring on it, that's the only ring that I'm bestowing.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
so,
respect that.
like what they say, through sickness and through then shoot, what's the term they say?
Through death and
like sickness and health,
through
right?
sickness and health,
Yeah.
through death do us apart.
Right. And so, how do you define sickness? I mean, we just look at it as like being ill, like quite literally physically ill. But I would say even going even deeper than that, periods of time where you're maybe a person that is off track from what you consider the person you want to be. And so I think there's plenty of relationships that I have seen where one of the partners has drifted off course. And I think that the most successful relationships are relationships that have recognized that and being able to pull them back in without forcing it too. Because, well, another phrase I've been using a lot recently, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Fact.
And so as much as you want to propose all these great ideas and all these things that maybe have helped you or you've seen help others, you can't make somebody do those things.
Yes.
And even for myself, I mean, we talk about these things all the time, and there's so many things that I struggle with, and that I'm not doing, or that I'm not doing enough. And so, as much as I believe that I know that's the right answer, I have to be the one to make that conscious effort to drink.
That's something I'm interested in is the idea of the season of appealing. So the season of appealing, I read the Bible a lot. So is this concept in the Bible where John the Baptist was in the wilderness, and within that wilderness he was preparing himself, kind of like, getting ready. And then there was a time where he said this was a season of appealing, meaning he revealed himself to the people and the people accepted him. And then also Jesus, we know Jesus only did his ministry for 3 years, right? So, but he died at 33. So that 3 years, he was kind of like preparing himself for that 3 years that he accomplished what he accomplished now to have the biggest religion in the world, biggest movement in the world, right?
Best-selling book of all time.
In fact, yeah. And you see people like Steph Curry, who are, Michael Jordan, who out of nowhere, they show up, and you think they show up out of nowhere, but it's because they have been doing something in the background.
Yeah, they say sorry to cut you off really quickly. What you do in the dark puts you in the light.
Yes, what you do in the dark puts you in the light. So this concept of the season of appearing, right? That's what I call it, the season.
I like that. I've never heard that term before. I love that.
It's an interesting one. So it's everything that we talked about seemed to align with the fact that there is a moment in time that we need to show up and we need to maximize on opportunity. And the biggest questions that I'll ask myself introspectively every day is that, am I doing what I need to do in preparation in the darkness so that when an opportunity arises, I'm able to maximize on it?
Right.
When that girl of my dream come, will I be able to have what I need in order for me to go up there and ask her out, or confidently?
Confidence.
Or when the boss come and give me a new position, or maybe an opportunity to open up a business come on the side, will I be ready for me? Have I prepared enough? And I think readiness is not the word, because readiness is subjective. You're never ready.
No. Yes. Yeah. That's a great point.
You're never ready, but it's about you. Are you prepared enough to do it, to jump on the cliff and hope that there's a deep seed of water there that maybe that can save you or something. But what I'm saying? It's this idea of being prepared. And that's what that's what I've been thinking introspectively. Am I ready? Not ready, but am I preparing myself to where if this opportunity ever come, I'm maximizing on it? Right.
I think, first of all, very well said. Because I think part of my thing as well, part of my problem, if you will, is the idea of perfection. You, like you said, you're never going to be ready. Whether you think there's like a certain amount of check boxes or things you need to achieve before you can, okay, well now I can have a girlfriend or have a serious relationship. No. Unfortunately, when the opportunity arises, you have to act on it. You have to be able to be aware enough to know that the opportunity is in front of you. And, you know, you're not always going to be successful with that opportunity, and that's okay. Sometimes it's the wrong time, wrong place. I've been in relationships before where I think that if I were in that relationship now, things have been different. However, again, I think that sometimes I hold myself back because I go, oh, well, I haven't done the things I need to do yet for said person. So I'm not that person that I want to be for them. I'm not happy enough, or however you want to call it, with myself. I don't have the confidence in myself to where if I were to take on a serious relationship, that not only can I still grow as the person that I'm becoming and grow with somebody else as well. So
interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, again, like you said, you're never going to truly be ready.
Yeah.
And that concept is something I've been trying to grasp on for a little while now.
Yeah. Because like the idea of readiness is only predicated on the fact that you have prepared enough to jump. And I think that's all there is about being ready. It's like, are you prepared enough to jump? You know? And let's say, for example, you have a PowerPoint that you need to present tomorrow, and you have prepared as much as you can to be ready in some sense. And the PowerPoint tomorrow is at 8 a.m. That's not, the fact that you are ready and prepared is not going to stop you from feeling afraid and nervous a minute before you step on the stage. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly right.
So it's like, yeah.
I remember I used to, in swimming, and I'm sure like with soccer as well, especially right before
Yes.
the event.
It's weird. Like I've been playing soccer for my life.
Yeah.
And that moment before the whistle blow, it's always nerve-wracking for some reason. It might be excitement, it might be dopamine. But anyway,
I mean, that's exactly what I was leading down. I remember I had it's funny, it wasn't a coach or my parents or even a friend, but there was when I was developing as a swimmer. This is right as I started getting serious with the sport. I remember I was at a swim meet, and that was before a race, and I was bouncing my leg just like constantly on the block, about to get up and get ready and go. And I had somebody tell me, it's like, are you nervous? I'm like, yeah. It's like, well, good. It means you care. They use different terminology, but
sounds like my coach.
yeah. It's like, good. You know, if you weren't nervous, it means you don't care. And so I think recognizing that in certain situations where I felt incapable of doing something is because I care deeply about what I'm about to do. However, I will say there have been times where I've let that kind of paralyze me. And so instead of then acting and accomplishing the job, I have shied away and or let that seep into the action. And so therefore it wasn't my best product.
Interesting.
However, in the moments that I did take that seriously and were able to use it as a catalyst and not a I guess a wall.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because you can care.
That's where I perform my best.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because you can care deep enough for something to where it stumps you from performing.
Exactly. Right. I can't perform the best of my ability because I'm essentially overthinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea of overthinking, it's also kind of like interesting because it's kind of interchangeable with caring too deeply about a certain. And
it's funny, man. You know, we talk about like here we are. We sit here right now, and at the same time, I definitely think about like there were races that I had back in swimming where, like, man, I was so in my head to where like it just basically went out there and just didn't perform at my best. But there again are also races that I think back on that I'll never forget, where I was able to take that and swallow it and use it as again a catalyst rather than something that hindered me.
You, yeah. See, that's the best thing you can do for yourself, is being able to recognize it and use it to benefit you. Because like I said, the first thing I say is like, one thing that I always think about when I'm analyzing any particular situations that happen to me is how can I turn this situation into an opportunity? And emotions are always going to be there and prevalent. I was actually talking to my friend the other day. They are coach, right? Life coach. And we were just having a deep conversation about some of the things, and I made a statement casually. I was like, I need to remove emotion because it's not helping me. And it sounds cool. It's like, well, it doesn't sound cool. It sounds very dry. Like,
Easier said than done.
what do you mean you want to remove your emotion?
Yeah.
But it's like, why not use the emotion? Because emotion is always going to be there. But why not use your emotion as a catalyst? Well, you can't use your emotions as a catalyst because it's always unregulated. It's
Right.
not properly regulated. And what do you do to properly regulate those emotions? And those are the things that I was talking about, like the morning walk, drinking coffee at the right time. It's very important. And maybe not drinking coffee at all. That's also important.
Yeah.
Eating at the right time and sleeping at the right time. Praying before you sleep and not using your phone. Not using your phone too much, man. Like, not being on social media is the biggest emotional fluctuation cause, I would say, for me. And
I agree.
for a lot of people. Like, the reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling when it comes to emotions, changes of emotion, where you start thinking about comparison, anxiety, depression out of nowhere, all these other feelings that you cannot even understand where they come from, it's usually, I would say, coming from the fact that you have access to these devices where you can see people who are perceivably living better than you and having so much dopamine access, where you having this moment of overflooding your mind with so many information
overload.
Information overload to where it's like you become disabled to do anything, and emotions become unregulated. I was actually talking to my friend, mutual friend. I don't want to say his name because I'm gonna say his name when he come here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get him.
Yeah.
But and he was talking about how he stopped social media completely and started reading books, and how that has helped. The biggest help that he had was the emotion part, where emotion are no longer fluctuating. It's just regulated. You can regulate your emotion by being in control of basically this device.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Genuinely the most productive and destructive piece of technology human existence has ever created.
Fact.
Are you familiar with Nardwuar?
No, but I've heard of that word.
So Nardwuar is the music guru who goes through and he interviews artists.
Yes, I
and he's
know.
like infamously known for like finding out
Yes.
certain details about an artist, and basically like on the spot, it's like, so what do you think about this? And they're like, how did you know that?
Yes, I know.
Nobody knows that.
Yeah.
For some reason, we were just talking about this, but there's a certain interview that I think about a lot where he interviews like J. Cole. And J. Cole, so he references a J. Cole song to J. Cole, and he was like, and I was like, this is your song. Like, what do you mean? And basically J. Cole makes the point, and maybe it's just a cop out, but no, I really don't think so. And he makes the point of like, I'm sorry, I'm in this point to where I've experienced so much, especially in music, to where sometimes I have information overload. I think social media specifically has been the biggest like problem, or I'm trying to think of the right word. But for me, it's like that's kind of caused problems where it's like I try to convince myself with like how my feed is, to where it's like, oh well, I'm getting benefit out of this because I've beat the algorithm to where it's motivational, or it's stuff that I can use to benefit my life. But how much can you really take at one time? Mm-hmm. On the flip side of that, even though like in and of itself, what I'm describing for me and what I've experienced with social media definitely still is like too much to really digest as far as like trying to be productive. Like I have all this stuff as far as like, as far as like workouts or dieting or just like general life rules, all these things. Where I have friends where I've seen that it's just constant, like whether it's like the news or it's just comedy or stuff that's, way off the wall, that is just the makeup of their feed. And I know these guys that are, these people are, seeing that several hours a day, to where like short form content is the only content they're able to actually appreciate. It's gotten to the point where, I mean, I guess even for me as well, to where I'm trying to watch more movies and TV shows. Isn't that crazy? Because the point where I know, or it feels like I am benefiting myself more because it's not just, swiping on a screen for sometimes quite literally seconds of a video.
Yes.
At that point, adding up over hours.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely been there before.
Your focus drop, like your level of focus drop tremendously when you just doing this.
Dude, you want to ruin your day? Wake up and get on your phone for half an hour. You want to ruin your day? That's what you do. You just scroll and start like you're saying, comparing and essentially like giving yourself anxiety.
Yeah.
By choice.
Yeah. It's like you're feeding yourself the negative things.
Yeah.
Because like one thing I'm starting to realize is this. You know the terminology of the placebo effect?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't know most people don't know how impactful the disconnect of their mind, their word, and their action bring damage to their entirety of the self. So it's like if you conceptualize an idea, but your mind, your word is saying differently and you act differently, that is just kind of mess you up in the long run. And the idea of the placebo effect, which is kind of like you're feeding yourself positive reinforcement so that you can act on those positive reinforcement. Your life can change in alignment with your thoughts, your mind, and your actions. Imagine having an alignment of the mind, your thoughts, and actions. Like there are some doctors who prescribe medicine of like there's literally nothing in there, and just the idea of knowing that this medicine has the potential to cure me, or just the thought of knowing that you can be cured, put you in a better situation where you are cured. I was actually listening to someone talk, and they say, I don't know if this is factual, but the leading cause of when the coronavirus came, one of the biggest factor of why people actually die was the fear base. Like people were more afraid, and that might be only due to a control group of people within the community that person was talking about. But the fact that people were afraid, that would lead to a potential of you dying faster than if you were not afraid. And I'm thinking about that. It's like we are feeding ourselves with all these informations that is, first of all, contrary to what we believe, contrary to how we act, and you think you're just gonna be fine. You have like 3 ecosystems operating in you that have different mindsets, right? Like for example, the idea of like the spirit, the flesh, and the soul.
Yeah.
Imagine everything is in disalignment. Like the soul is thinking its own thoughts, the mind is thinking its own thoughts, the spirit is thinking its own thoughts, but you're gonna be cooked. Next thing you know, you are dealing with depression at a high rate, suicidal, all these other negative emotional factor that's gonna play in just by you being in disalignment with your thoughts, your word, your actions.
Wow. That's so interesting. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. And for me, like, it's funny, like, even since a kid, I've kind of had the desire to, try to be I remember like being in church and kind of figuring out how to pray at the time, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like a weird thing, especially as a young man, kind of like coming down to terms with like, God, please help me on my path to be the best man that I can be spiritually, mentally, and physically, in that order.
Mm-hmm.
However, I definitely feel that I've had times to where, like you said, those are in disalignment. To where, like, spiritually I want to be this way, but mentally I want to be another way, but physically I'm here. And so that's so interesting because I think that that's a constant, especially in today's society.
Yes, and also that's where confidence come from.
Yeah,
is an alignment with. Because you cannot sustain confidence with a faulty character.
As well as confidence, something you know.
Yes, yes, the knowledge of a thing, but you cannot sustain you cannot sustain confidence with faulty character. What is faulty character? Is duplicity, having duality within yourself. Right? That's why in the harshest extreme word for it is hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
yeah, it's like people think hypocrisy is maybe just on a grander level where you say one thing, you act another way. Yes. But it's also within yourself. If you say one thing, you go against your own word. Even if no one is seeing it, that's hypocrisy.
Yes.
You are betraying your own self. And but it's hard to find alignment. But once you find it, even if you're in a toughest situation, you know you're good.
I think, okay, and you brought this up earlier, just like some examples.
Yeah.
As far as like Stephen Curry, Michael Jordan, and there's plenty of other athletes as well. We could go on for hours.
Yeah.
But I just think that's why I think I would think probably the same in this regard. Like I have so much appreciation for sports is because there are people that I've seen perform at the highest level only because they were able to find that alignment. There's been plenty of superstars, but there's only a handful of those that I consider in that upper epsilon that have transcended the superstar realm. They've gone to something different.
Superstardom. Transcended.
Right. Yeah.
I was learning actually, interestingly enough, and I think we're about to end off here soon. Is it still beeping red?
It is, yeah.
So I was learning something about in regard to human motive, and what I found out is that human motive is in regard to three things: survival, connection, and transcendent. And the fact that you said transcendent was interesting because it's like everything that you can think about when it comes to motivations, that everything that we are motivated is captured in these three things. A person who wants to off themselves is survival, going on self-sabotaging, or a transcendent, where transcendent is basically saying that you want to leave a legacy, or you want to go beyond yourself. So let's say, for example, you want to off yourself. It's like you want to give yourself an internal peace in some sense, where the current suffering of this world is not sufficient for you. Or let's say, for example, someone who want to conquer the world or want to achieve something great. They want to immortalize themselves within the history of time, like someone like Michael Jordan, who has basically immortalized himself when it comes to sports, and generations are going to be talking about him. You know what I'm saying? So all the emotions, and the second one, which is connection. So we have survival, connection, and transcendent. The connection is about when you wanting to call your mom and want to hear her sweet voice. You wanting to call your girlfriend or your wife or your brother. That is what make us human, is the connections, that desire to survive, the desire to protect our own, and the desire to want to immortalize ourselves within the course of history. And I thought that was interesting. It's like, that's it? Only these three? What do you think about that?
I think that's super interesting. And I think that we, as far as my fixation, is like that transcendence. Because I think that the first two, I'm sorry, so wait, what was the first one?
The first one is survival.
Survival, okay, yeah. So between like survival and connection,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot easier to explain
Yes.
than transcendence.
Yes.
Because to break through
Yes.
there's not a formula.
Yes.
And I think that's the most amazing part, is that it's not repeatable.
Yes.
Because between like survival and connection, I think you kind of have like inherently, almost like kind of you're born with that.
Yeah.
Where like transcendence is self-driven.
It's self-actualization.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the highest form of self-actualization. It's something that have to go beyond yourself. It's intrinsic when it comes to desire, us desiring it. But manifesting it, yeah. But that's what is interesting about this whole thing. But I want to close off here with a question that I ask you. What is something that you're doing right now that a 70-year-old you would look back at and hate?
You familiar with the 7 deadly sins?
Somewhat.
So it just comes back from the Bible, and specifically like religion, where 7 sins that kind of are an umbrella for a lot of other smaller things, but basically between, I think it's lust, greed, pride, sloth, gluttony, wrath, and I'm forgetting the last one. Nonetheless,
I can't think of it too.
I know it'll come to me.
Anger? Oh, that's wrath.
Yeah, they'll come to me on my way home. I already know it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Regardless, the one that to me is the biggest identifier is gluttony, and I feel that I was saying this earlier, where I feel that I'm an appreciator of life, and I think that I allow myself to be excited by things that maybe I shouldn't be, and so I think at that point, like being able to indulge in those things on a consistent basis is where I've struggled in the past, because it makes me happy, like how we were talking about earlier. And so I think that 70-year-old me would continue to hope that I push forward to be able to overcome gluttony. And so I think that I've made strides. But you know, there's definitely times where it's very easy to sink back into those old ways. And I think that just comes from, again, just kind of inherently who I am, to where I see the good in people that sometimes I shouldn't. And that goes with other things as well. Find an appreciation in almost anything. And although in a way that's a good, there's definitely some solace in that. On the same token, I think that if I were to continue to say yes to everything, which is really what this boils down to, then like I'll find myself in a difficult path. So if I can figure out how to say no with confidence and know why, I think I'll continue moving towards becoming the man that I want to be.
Interesting.
So I'd like to ask you the same question.
Me? That's a good question, because I didn't think about it. You asking me.
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
That's true.
I genuinely did not think about answering that question. But if a 70-year-old me look back and something that I'm doing right now that he would hate will be, see, I'm drifting between being too consistent. It's like you should be too consistent.
Expand on that.
Mainly because I feel like sometimes, and this might be due to being in a season of preparation, is that sometimes I feel as if I'm not doing enough. Like I'm doing enough, but not enough to get me to where I want to be. And I also simultaneously, I feel like a 70-year-old me would be like, you should enjoy life a little. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't really know. But one thing I would say, this is another question that I was trying to ask you, and I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to ask you to answer that question, is that, let's say, for example, people are watching a movie, and their movie they're watching is my life. And I have 1 minute to hear what the people who are watching the movie say, the things that they're saying about the movie. What will be the things that they will be screaming at me, saying, you should do that? You know, when, let's say, for example, you watch a horror movie, right, and someone who's like, behind you. Yeah. What would they be screaming at me, say, you should do that? And I feel like for me, they will be screaming to just do it. Just do it. And fully surrender yourself to, number one, I'll say God. And number two, the process. And number three, to the vision. That's what I would say. So anything in opposite to that is the answer to what a 70-year-old me would hate about me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love that. And I mean, and I'll answer that question as well. I think that it's kind of funny because I think, I mean, with what we just said, it's kind of like two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
And so I think that being able to be spontaneous is something that you can learn just as much as being able to have confidence in your decision. From my side, is also something that you can learn over time. Yes. So I feel that we'll learn that together.
Yeah.
I think that for me, like I said, like being able to say no is an important piece, but also there are times where I say no when I should say yes. And so in like situations where maybe it's not objectively like that's gonna benefit me, like that risk. To where like, you know, taking that leap of faith that we've talked about is a necessary part of my action. So it's like, you know, like do it, come on.
Gotta do it.
Come on. Yeah, no, I feel that you know, for me, if there was a camera crew following me around all the time and, you know, it was put on the big screen, IMAX 4K, you know, people are throwing their popcorn is for me to not let the opportunity pass me by. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you don't even know when it's in front of you. And so, and it's funny for somebody that feels so self-aware that there's been plenty of times that I know that I've passed up on opportunities that I could have had if I wanted them.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
so yeah, I think about that. And there'll be plenty of opportunities, or not opportunities, but moments in my life to where, yeah, the movie could have been different. On the same token, being able to accept those past opportunities as part of it too.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I'll say, which I want to end with this, is that for someone like us who are still young, but getting old, because we are getting old, we have more time to make mistakes than we think.
Yeah.
And the more we do it now, the better. Because 10 years from now, we're going to have mini me running around. And I can't afford to make mistakes because I have to make sure that my mini me is eating. But now, I don't have my mini me. So, try as much as you can. Make as many mistakes as you can. And hopefully, out of all those mistakes that you make, you learn something. And you grow from it. And then one day, a breakthrough will happen. And that's what I believe. That breakthrough will definitely come. Yeah.
I think just the final words, as far as what you just said, and what we were talking about just a little bit ago, it's the whole piece of like transcending isn't something you can just decide when that happens.
Yeah.
So be patient.
Be patient to it, yeah. Anyway, guys, this is the Elevate Podcast. Thank you for listening to us. And Harrison, I'm going to see you here again next time.
Looking forward to it. Thank you for having me again.